Um, I am the nasty pastor. I'm back with another session, another reading of the teachings of Peter Hotep, the world oldest book. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, do some engaging. Let's enlighten each other. Anywho, did y'all check out the last reading? The land of darkness, the time of Peter Hotep. I like it, you know what I mean? It really reveals, it really shows the rewriting of history. It shows the how can I say this? The future thoughts. You know, because when you look at what so far I've read, you know what I mean? If the Jews already knew a Messiah was coming because it was spoke of, it was read, it was read about, it was, foretold, you know what I mean? The same from my understanding, from my research, the Jews just didn't know that Jesus was coming. You know what I mean? Every continent, every culture knew there was a Messiah coming. You see what I'm saying? So you can look at when you read this book and you process this book, you know, there probably was talks of Moses, of one being rebellious against the upbringing of his culture. You know what I mean? That will go that will go on to teach, that will go on to become a Messiah. You know what I mean? That will bring his people out of bondage. You know, so you have to see things, you know, not just one way. You know, when I explained to you about the time of Peter Hotep, you know, the way I look, you know, the way I figured they looked at the animals. How, you know, you just don't use the animal for food. What else can I get out this animal? What else can I get out this elephant? What else can I get out this lion, this tiger? What else can this bird do, you know, besides me shooting it down, besides me plucking the feathers, boiling it, making some, you know, some. I guess back then, what we gonna say, some grilled chicken, cause that's what they were doing, grilling stuff back then. But make some grilled chicken. What else can I do? You know, what is it? What can I do with the blood in this chicken? What if I take this chicken to a fortune teller? You know, I'm gonna just put it that way in modern terms so people can really understand it. And honestly, I really wouldn't even know the name of the you know, if I say it was a visor, that goes back to, you know what I mean, Peter Hotep was a visor. So that means Peter Hotep, if I'm correct in my definition, you know, that means Peter Hotep was one of those people that sit down, slice the goat open, drink the blood, read the blood and all that, and tell you what get ready to happen to you. You understand what I'm saying? So I could say voodoo priest, but then we talking about some other stuff, right? Then it takes people mind into black magic and stuff like that. So I'm trying to be mindful. I'm trying to be watchful of the words I say, how I say it to people. Cause I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, I want this to last a lifetime. I want this to last where that I may be dead and gone, and forbid it. But my words, what my thoughts of Kemet, my outlook of Kemet is still in time, is still relevant in time. So what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean, is this right here. Always read with comprehension. always go back and read it again. Always know that we live in a world where that man, M-A-N, and that's women or men, taint everything. Because we have a greedy soul. We have a greed in our blood. We have an evil in our blood that most of us can't fight every day. We've been given free will, which means that we are allowed to how to put it, we are allowed to go after our temptations. You feel me? What we're not processing, that there is consequences going after your temptations. So if you know the consequences, why do it? Because we also have ignorance flowing through our blood. You feel me? I walked in ignorance. I talked in ignorance. You feel me? And I learned to do better. I learned to think before I do. I learned to, even in anger, let me slow down my thinking, let me slow down my words, and let me know how to present my actions better than I have before. So look, once again, I am the Nasty Pastor. Please like, subscribe, follow, comment, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. You'll find it over there. Only Faith Ministries, Kemet. You may see Kemet Edition. You just may see, like I said, Only Faith Ministries, Kemet. Anywho, let's get in this reading. And this reading says, it starts off saying, concerning the book. And I believe where we left off at is right here. The number of extant text of the class to which the subjoined immediately belong is not large in proportion to the rest of Egyptians. And it's MSS. But they seem to be representative of the class, being diverse in date and subject, but similar in form. There is great uniformity in the arrangement of most of them in the following respects. They have a title, the word instruction, said Boyet, and are written by a father for the advantage of his son. They are very poetic in their arrangement of words and phrases, and are usually divided into short sections or paragraphs by the use of red ink for the first sentence of each. You get how they are structuring books. You get it. You get how even back then we just weren't thinking of an alphabet system. We weren't just thinking of how can I explain this bird is bird. How can I explain that's water? How can I explain this is the land of Kemet? How can I explain that I'm a man, you're a woman, you're a child, we pray to Amen? You know what I mean? How can I write this out? How can I do this? How can I do that? And with all that going on, it still was instructions, was a standard to how you present it. And all this before Christ. You got what I'm saying? All this before Christ. So understand, you know what I mean, that the mind is powerful. Your thoughts, your ideas are powerful. They can last. You know what I mean? Your thought, there are things in our world that was invented thousands and thousands of years ago, before Christ, that's still relevant today, that's still an asset, a need in our life. Alphabets, words. You got what I'm saying? It's a need. It's a form of communication. And if you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to speak, then people will never understand you. And it's not that they don't take you serious, they just don't understand you. They are very poetic in their arrangement of words and phrases and are usually divided into short sections or paragraphs by the use of red ink for the first sentence of each. Such is the instruction of Peter Hotep on morality, the finest of its class. All right, let's look up morality, see what morality talks about. Because see, this is the man that he said there's a way we're going to live. There's a way we're going to present ourselves to the world. And if he's the instructor of morality, then it might explain some things, you know what I mean? Because we follow suit, you know what I mean? Don't think that the way your parents raised you is somehow they woke up one morning and said, this is how I'm going to do this. No. They raised you by how they was raised, how they was told to raise children, how they was, I'm going to give you a prime example. The way I raised my kids was basically taking everything my mom showed me that was good. I took away the things my mom showed me that was bad, because those things she showed me that was bad put a wedge between us. Made things where that I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't trust her. I didn't feel like this woman would ever fight for me. My mom, you got what I'm saying? So the way I raised mine was to always know that, yes, you have a voice. I will never shut you up. Yes, I'm your protector. Yes, I'm someone that's going to provide for you. Yes, I may not like the things you do, but I understand that you have to learn also. The definition of morality is principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. You understand this? Do you understand this? So, we've been established Peter Hotep was a visor. So, there are things that Peter Hotep went around the kingdom and saw was good, saw was bad, and that's how laws were formed. You understand? Laws. Laws. Laws was formed. So Peter Hotep, as we say in modern terms, was Congress. You know what I mean? They had a Congress back then. A House of Delegates. You get me now. You understand how the world was structured, and you understand how other cultures came into our culture to structure their culture. You feel me? You get it? See, I didn't necessarily start with ancient Egypt, Kemet, Africa, and got all my education just there. I was reading other books. I was listening and educating myself about the Asians. I was listening and educating myself about Hitler. I was listening and educating myself about the Italians. Whatever culture was on this planet, when I started realizing it's time to seek knowledge of self. You know what I mean? I was physically in Richmond, Virginia, but you couldn't tell me I went over Asia. You couldn't tell me I went in Europe. You couldn't tell me I went over there in Spain or Italy somewhere. You feel me? I took my mind other places. You know what I mean? I took my mind out of the reality I was in and took it somewhere else to experience their culture, to get an understanding of how they was brought up in the world, to understand that why are these cultures going against something so supreme, something so needed. You feel me? I couldn't understand that. I could not understand why these other cultures did not come into Upper Africa, Kemet, Egypt, and ask for knowledge. Why do you have to take knowledge? Why do you have to come and disrespect our land to get a gain? To take something home that's gainful when all you had to do is ask. When all you had to do is explain or say to yourself, man, how are y'all building this? How did you realize it was the right thing to make some sandals? You know, it don't process to some people. There are rocks in the ground that can cut your feet open. It don't process to some people that if I take a snake, get the venom off the snake, and I drench my arrowheads in that poison, in that venom, that it still can harm another my enemy. You got what I'm saying? So that venom must can sustain the poison that's in it for at least 48 hours or more. Because sometimes it might take a whole day to get to the battleground. You got me? From where the kingdom at to where we're going to fight, it may take a whole 24 hours to get there. You got me? So that means what they do, they ride with the venom too, right? Right? Go on, stick their arrows in there, their arrowheads in there, and come on, let's go to war. Go on, stick their swords in there, and come on, let's go to battle. Let's get up out here and let's kill some stuff, because we're going to defend our land, right? All right, let's get back into this reading. The instruction of King Kemet on the hollowness of friendship and other matters. Hollowness of friendship. That means your friendship got a hole in it. You got me? It's no bond. It's nothing deep about it. It's nothing structured in your friendship where that it can hold itself together. You know what I mean? So really, honestly, that's not a friend. That's an associate. They knew that back then, right? They knew the difference of friendship back then. Why is it that most of you today don't know the difference? The instruction of the son of Kurti on the excellence of the literary life and others. In many respects and in many details that greatly resemble the didactic works of the Old Testament and Apocrypha. These instructions were held in high esteem as textbooks and writing exercises in schools, a circumstance to which we owe the preservation of many of them. For a considerable number of important and interesting poems, letters, and narratives are only known to us from school exercise books. The pupil at the chamber of instruction wrote out about 3 pages of these each day as a means of improving his writing as a model of style and composition and for purposes of edification. These exercises abound in errors of spelling and grammar, having sometimes the master's corrections elegantly written above in red. As may be, let me back that up for a minute. elegantly written above in red. You ever had a teacher tell you, if you got a red pen, write this in red, or the teacher write it in red so the teacher can highlight your mistakes, what you need to work on? Where they get it from? Where do modern day teachers get that from? Before Christ, right? You understand how things get passed on and get carried on? If it was wrong, it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't surpass time. You got what I'm saying? You something so small, something so direct. You know what I mean? A compass, a direction, a tool used to guide you. That's how it was processed. That's how I processed it the first time a teacher ever did it to me. As may be imagined, a schoolboy's scrawl over 3,000 years old is no easy thing to translate. But Forte de Mix, the Egyptologist, welcomes any version, even the most barbarous. Fortunately, the MS from which these translations come is not of this kind. A detailed description of it may interest some of my readers. The prize papyrus, which is well known by name and a few extracts to all persons conversing with Egyptian matters, was acquired in Egypt by M. Price de Venice, a French archaeologist of distinction, and published by him in 1847. The exact place of its discovery is unknown. M. Price is said to have bought it of one of the fellow men whom he employed to make excavations at the burial ground of Thebes. This man pretended that he had no knowledge of its finding, as he was trying to sell it for a friend. It is believed that it was actually taken by the Arab from the tomb of one of the kings Intel. But this is not certain. If it were, it would perhaps enable us to fix a terminus ad quem for the writing of this copy. Although tombs often contain objects of later date, the papyrus was presented in about 1847 by M. Price to the Bibliothèque Nationale. In those days, the Bibliothèque Royale at Paris, where it is still is, divided and glazed in the usual manner. All right, I'm gonna read this footnote, and the footnote says, "See appendix for the literature of this papyrus." Then it says, "These were kings of the 11th dynasty, about 2,985 BC." Well, that's the end of this reading of concerning this book. And basically it's explaining how this book was structured, basically explaining that, Peter Hotep was, a professor. You know what I mean? If you can understand it better, was a professor, and he taught us Kemites how to be civilized. He, like I said, Congress. You know what I mean? This man laid the law down. This man presented law, made it where that the laws and how man is supposed to present themselves still is in existence today. So I say this, because I'm never gonna stop explaining how Jews think, how the Jewish culture is. I'm just not. You got what I'm saying? I haven't said anything disrespectful. I haven't said anything that determines or stand on I hate Jews. For anything, a Jew should be happy, should be very accepting the way that I speak of the Jewish culture. Because see, peep this, right? If Satan come right now, sit beside me and tell me to go out here and kill somebody, and I do it, I can't blame Satan. You understand? Where was my wisdom? Where was my thoughts? Where was my common sense to knowing I'm wrong? So if there is trickery in the books we read because they are rewritten, and this is the way that the world has been structured off of trickery, then you got to blame yourself and you got to do something different. Because see, it was a time I knew when I was growing up, people had it in their mind it's a certain number that can only go into heaven. You feel me? So if that is true, don't you think there are cultures out here want you to go to hell so they can get into heaven? Use your common sense. Once again, I am the nasty pastor. If I don't love you, don't nobody else gonna love you. Here, understand this. Understand this now. Wake up. Understand this now. A man is a terrible thing to waste. Understand this now. You are grown up. You're an adult. America really defines you as an adult at 15 years old. You can go and emancipate yourself at 15, 16 years old. So America acknowledges you being an adult at that age. So what I'm going to say to you, and I'm going to say it like this. For us to have free will, for us to be able to read, for us to be able to walk in these libraries, sit down, get a book, and educate our own selves, there's no excuse. There's none in the world. That's not an excuse you can ever come out your mouth and say that can back, I didn't know. You understand me? There's nothing you can say. So look, I love you. Please go like, subscribe, share, comment, follow. I'm out.